Hello everybody, this is Dino GTO, and today we're going to be looking at the T-34-85M marathon that's coming to the EU server on the 7th of July. I think I've heard that it's coming to other servers as well. Not 100% sure on that there actually, but I believe it is coming to some other servers along with the EU server. It's coming on the 7th of July. I'm not sure if there's anything significant I don't know about the 7th of July, other than it's going to be 7/7/2017. Um, but there seems to be a lot of stuff happening on that date. I mean, like there's that premium 30% discount thing that's happening for tier 8 premiums. There's this marathon event. There just seems to be a bunch of shit happening on that date. But yeah, so the grand prize for this marathon is the T-34-85M. The missions work very similarly to the missions for the T-25 Pilot number 1. So I would expect these missions to overall be easier than the T-25 Pilot's missions because, well, T-25 Pilot was a tier 8 premium. This is only a tier 6, so I would expect these missions to be overall easier than the T-25 Pilots because it's 2 tiers lower. Um, so I'd guess they would want to make it more accessible to more people. So yeah. So overall, I should actually think about overall, I think it will definitely be worth going for because any tier 8 premium or any premium you can get for free is probably worth getting, especially if it's above tier 3 as an example. It's probably worth getting, but let's actually look at the tank first to see the details of it. So this is the T-30-45M and this is the T-30-45. So T-30-45M, first thing you notice is it actually has a significantly higher DPM than the T-34-85. So what I'm just going to quickly do is I'm going to make these both the base values. Whoops, I forgot to actually choose backwards stats, my bad. So I've changed them both to base values. This thing gets 2076 DPM. This thing gets 1800 DPM. So the T-30-45M beats it by over a shot and a half per minute. That is pretty mental. Like that is a really big advantage the T-30-45M has over the T-30-45. It also has a 0.1 second faster aiming time. Um, it's actually slightly better in terms of the turret reverse gun bloom. The guns seem to be almost identical. In fact, they do seem to be identical, except the T-30-45M carries 12 more rounds of ammo. They're the same shell cost as well. Let's just compare the premium rounds. 3200 credits, 3200 credits, okay, so that seems fine. So they seem to be exactly the same in those regards. Now we come on to the mobility. So this is where they start to differ pretty drastically. So the T-30-45 can do 54 kilometers an hour. T-30-45M can only do 53. So that's 1 kilometer an hour difference in terms of the top speed. So then we get on to things like the actual power to weight ratio of the vehicle. So T-30-45M only has a 500 horsepower engine in comparison to the T-30-45's 600 horsepower engine. So that means there's roughly a 2.3 horsepower per ton difference for the two tanks. Like the T-30-45 is going to be consistently out accelerating the T-30-45M, and the T-34-85, the standard one, also has superior terrain resistances. So that means that it will definitely out accelerate T-30-45M on pretty much every terrain. And if you look at the traverse speeds too, it just annihilates the T-30-45M on every single one of them, thanks to the combination of the overall better part of weight ratio and the better ground resistances. So now we come on to the actual flexibility stats. The gun elevation and depression both have the same gun depression. The T-30-45 has 3 degrees more gun elevation, but that's pretty situational. You're not going to come across too many situations where 3 degrees extra gun elevation are going to make a huge difference. Let's see, gun traverse wise, they're exactly the same. Turret traverse speed wise, they're exactly the same. Like, and one thing I should just point out, the T-30-45M does have 2 degrees better turret or tank traverse, but if you look at the effective traverses, the T-30-45, the standard one, does destroy it in terms of the effective traverse speeds. So then we come on to the armor. So the armor for the T-30-45M is its strong point. That's its unique feature, but I'll wait for a little while longer to actually get into the armor profile. I just want to run over the rest of the stats and get that out of the way here now. So in terms of like view range and radio range and all, they're exactly the same, except the T-34-85M has a slightly worse fire chance, but Russian tanks don't seem to catch on fire as often as some other nations, and bizarrely, it's actually lighter than the T-34-85. So that's a little bizarre. So, I did not expect that. Not gonna lie. Um, Ammo rack health wise, they're exactly the same. Track health wise, the T-34-85 has or T-34-85M has worse track health and has significantly worse engine health. So the engine's probably going to be more likely to get knocked out in this tank, and I would also think that would make that mean that the engine will be more likely to catch on fire as well, thanks to just lesser health pool. So these armor statistics, like now that we're actually onto the armor statistics on this vehicle don't really tell you the full story. So let's just go into the 3D model for both vehicles so I can just give you a quick comparison. So the upper front plate for this vehicle is, as advertised, 75 millimeters. So that's pretty damn strong. I mean, if you angle this here at roughly an auto bounce angle, so let's angle it about, let's angle it about there. So this has about 150 effective for the most part all over it. And then there's also this 90 millimeter area here and this 100 millimeter area here. This area here is pretty much an auto bounce area. Like tier 6s and 7s are going to have some really unlucky bounces off this here from time to time. But for the most part, it covers between 155 and 145 effective armor, and the lower front plate in this kind of angle is really weak still. So the upper front plate in this thing is significantly stronger than the standard T-34-85s. So yeah, it's pretty much like well, I would say probably about 30 millimeter effective difference between the two vehicles in terms of the raw armor. But then we get on to the rear armor. So the rear armor on this vehicle is very weird looking. I mean, look at the back of this in comparison to this. So I believe part of this is down to the addition of the fuel tanks inside of the vehicle, as far as I understand it. That's like the idea between like the weird looking ass of this tank. I always thought for a long time that this was actually spaced armor, but it turns out it's not. So this 45 up here, and then it's 20. Was it 20 or 30? It's 30 millimeters down here. So that's considerably reduced. But as far as I understand it, I think this was designed to somewhat be a counterbalance to the actual overall weight of the actual tank. Because if you look at it here, like the actual standard back of the tank is about here somewhere. Let's just compare it. That looks really weird. What the hell has happened to this? Okay, maybe change it back to like hybrid or something like that there. So let's see. That's weird. I didn't know you could do that. Huh. I wasn't actually sure what hybrid would do, but it looks like it shows you like the visual parts and the bits that are actually modeled on the tank that you can shoot. Huh. It's interesting. But if you compare it like this, the actual back of the actual standard vehicle without this thing here is about here. Like the actual standard rear of the machine is probably about here somewhere. If you see what I mean, just this extra like little ass part here is what makes the rear look so funky. I'm not entirely sure I'm not entirely sure how this thing's lighter than the standard T-34-85. I mean, it has this extension here with the fuel tanks inside of it, as far as I understand. Like, I believe that's the idea. To the rear, either transferred from the fighting compartment to the rear, so which is what I assume this big thing on the back is. It had faulty suspension, so it was never produced. So, yeah, overall, this thing has some pretty tough armor for tier 6s and some tier 7s, and it's going to be pretty strong, and it's going to show the most versus tier 5s. Kind of like the, what's it called, the Thunderbolt 7, but not quite in the same way. The Thunderbolt 7, its entire upper front plate is pretty strong, but it also has a pretty significant weak point in the middle of its upper front plate, and also has a pretty prominent and really weak lower plate, whereas this thing's lower front plate is significantly smaller. While also it's still very weak. It's not strong by any stretch of the imagination, but it's significantly harder to hit. So I would say this thing overall probably has better chance of bouncing more lower pin shells, whereas the Thunderbolt has a better chance of bouncing higher pin shells. So I think that's the general that's my general thoughts on the vehicle in terms of its overall armor, and the turrets, as far as I understand and as far as I remember, are exactly the same in terms of their armor layout. So let's just quickly show you the collision. Yep, the armors are pretty much exactly the same. This is 90 and this is also 90. So yeah, pretty much exactly the same in that regard. So um, I believe I already mentioned this, but these missions are in the same format as the T-25 pilot missions. So I would assume these ones would be easier, considering it's just a tier 6 premium instead of being a tier 8. So this tank will probably be pretty accessible to most people, and I would say most people are probably going to go for it. And I would recommend going for it because getting a free tier 6 premium, like tier 6 is honestly one of the most fun tiers to play at in the game. Like I think it's pretty underrated in terms of like how much fun it actually is to play at tier 6. Like so I would genuinely recommend trying to get this vehicle because it's probably going to wind up being like a genuine pleasure to play by the end of it. So let's see, anything else I really need to do? Let's see. Okay, yeah. So if you already have the T-34-85M and you're thinking you're going to get gold or something for completing all the missions, you don't get gold. You just get the 1.5 million credits and you get a garage slot. So you do get a garage slot with the vehicle. Just going off this FAQ question here, so you would still get a garage slot even if you have the vehicle already. So I assume that is included with the vehicle whenever you get it. Can you buy all the tokens and then earn it back as gold leader? That's not possible because, well, as you saw here, if you already have it and you do all the missions, you only get 1.5 million credits instead of actually getting the entire gold amount. So let's see, and if you let's see, but have more than 13 at the purchase. So the example they gave here is, say if you buy 5 of them and or say if you buy 10 tokens from the premium shop and you already had 6 and you have 2, that means you would have 3 left over, which would mean you get 290 gold for each of them as like a reimbursement for having bought the tokens. Let's see. And the only way to get them after you've missed a couple missions is to actually buy a package, do premium tanks count towards it. Yes, providing they're at least tier 4. Will there be any way to check the number of tokens I have gathered? You can check in the premium shop well, for the ones you earn in the game, they can be tracked in the missions window. The ones you buy in the premium shop cannot be tracked in the user interface, annoyingly. So you do need to keep track of how many you buy, pretty much is what I get from that. What happens if I buy 5 tokens in the premium shop and never finish the missions? You get a refund, or well, you get the tokens converted at the end to gold, so you do get something back from it after you're putting money into it. So whenever it comes to if you do all the if you get all the tokens and receive the tank, you can still do the missions and get the extra rewards and stuff. Let's see, if I buy a token, will I still be able to play the current active mission? Yes, you do. Yes, you will. You can still do the mission and get the rewards and stuff. What happens if I buy tokens, but at the end of the event, I don't have enough to finish the marathon? Any of the ones you bought from the premium shop, you'll get 290 gold for each one. And I believe this is specific to only the premium shop tokens. I don't think this applies to the free tokens you earn. You earn from doing the missions. So I think this will only apply to the premium shop versions of the tokens. Is there any difference between achieving the token in game by playing and just buying the token in the premium shop? Yes, there is. So when you buy it from a premium shop, you only get the token. If you earn it in the game, you get token plus the other rewards that will come with it. So yeah, as you can see here, so you can see 1 token for T-34-85M, and there's also question marks here telling you that there is a secondary reward after you get the tokens as well. So you also see that there's restrictions here on the objective. So we have no idea what any of the missions are right now. We just know there's going to be 18 of them total. You only need to complete 13 in order to get the vehicle. So that seems pretty worth it to me. Like, if you have the time to do it, I would recommend doing it, because if you have any intention at all of going up to the Russian medium line, it's going to be handy to have a Russian premium medium tank just to store your crew in if you don't have enough credits to get to the next vehicle or something like that there. So I would just recommend doing it just to have it there, so that if you need to earn credits or something like that there, even though tier 6 premiums aren't the best for making credits, it will still be nice just to have there in the background. Knowing you have it's probably um, better than knowing you had the chance to get it and then didn't get it. You would probably wind up regretting not getting it for free when you had the chance. So for me, I'm in an interesting situation. I would go for it because I've always been intrigued by this particular vehicle. This vehicle I always thought was interesting, and I kind of wanted to get one for a long time, but I can never really justify it because I had a Rudy. But if you look at the actual like my missions, I am not going to have a computer for this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Probably as far as day 6. So I'm probably going to miss. Well, I'm either going to miss the first 5 days, or I'm going to miss the first 6 days. So I'm probably going to wind up having to buy at least one of these things here, or maybe just like one or two tokens, depending on how they do it. I'm not entirely sure how they're going to do that, but yeah, I do definitely want to get one of these vehicles. Hopefully, if I have my computer before mid next week, I won't need to buy any of the things. But yeah, I'm definitely going to go make a conscious effort to go for this thing here. And I definitely like this method of doing the marathons in comparison to the old marathon method, which was the oh yeah, grind 150,000 damage in this specific nation in all 7 nations, and get 150 kills in each vehicle or in each nation as well. Because doing that for 7 nations was just too much. Seriously, getting 150,000 damage in the Germans, pretty easy. Doing 150 kills, bit of a pain in the ass, but you could do it. But doing it for the Swedish, doing it for the Czechoslovakians, doing it for the Japanese, doing it for the Chinese, oh god, it became a nightmare so quickly. There's so many nations you need to do. It's just, like, especially for the nations that haven't been fully fleshed out, it was such a bollock. But yeah, I definitely prefer this method of doing the missions in comparison to the old method. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully them continuing with this sort of method. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I really need to say. So let me know, what do you guys think of the T-34-85M? If you have one, let me know. Is it a great tank? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Or or do you intend to fall, or are you really looking forward to actually getting one by earning it? So yeah, pretty much just let me know if you're going for it, and let me know if you have one, what you think of it. So yeah. So I think that's pretty much everything I really need to say. So thanks for watching. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Let me know your opinions on this sort of mission system. Do you prefer this to the old mission system, or did you prefer the old like grindathon missions? So yeah. Um, so thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.